Now let's talk about episode 5 of Daredevil Born Again. Now in this episode we see Daredevil going into a bank to talk about a loan for his firm. And apparently the banker can't really give the loan because Matt Murdock's firm does a lot of free cases, and because of that I don't think they have the financial stability or something to get the loan that they want. But an interesting fact, it turns out that the banker Matt Murdock's talking to is actually Kamala Khan's father. Now Kamala Khan's Miss Marvel from the Miss Marvel series. So basically we see something from that series in here, even though it's just mentioning her. He talks about his daughter, and he suddenly talks about Miss Marvel, the superhero of New Jersey, and Matt Murdock says he doesn't know her. Which might make sense. I mean, she's pretty new, and people are just gonna start noticing her soon. I mean, we haven't really heard anything about her since the Miss Marvel series. And that goes for most of the new characters introduced. We haven't heard anything about them. But anyway, that's something else. So they talk about her, and after he doesn't get the loan, he walks out, and then a bunch of robbers get into the bank. And he hears this, and he just suddenly walks back in. And they decide to take him as a hostage as well. Now, they've taken a lot of hostages. But before he went in, he made sure to alert the authorities, and so the police show up, and they're surrounding the bank. And he interacts with Kamala Khan's father again. And the robber says that Kamala Khan's, I think his name's Yusuf Khan. Apparently he tells him to open the vault because the main manager isn't there and he's the assistant manager. And he agrees, even though he technically cannot open the vault. He was scared and just accidentally said that. So he's in a bit of trouble. And we see the bank robber, the head of the bank robbers, talking to the cop outside and negotiating and things, which usually happens in this kind of robberies. And then later on, we see Matt Murdock walking with one of the robbers, and when he gets him alone, he just beats him up because he's Daredevil, obviously. He just beats him up. Now, honestly, I was expecting Matt Murdock to go outside the bank and come back in as Daredevil because he had the opportunity to go out because 2 of the hostages were being released as part of the negotiation, and he was one of them, but he said he didn't want to do it, and he said someone else out. So we don't get to see him being Daredevil in this episode. It's just Matt Murdock. Now, he beats up one of the robbers, and then he goes to the safe where Yusuf Khan is trying to open the safe for the other robber, even though he cannot, and he knocks him out as well. And they try to find out, and they find out that apparently the robber had the key to a deposit box here, and then they together, the banker and Matt Murdock, open the deposit box, and shockingly they get a gem from the box, a small gem which looks like an infinity stone. Now that doesn't make any sense. Now it isn't glowing or anything, but it looks like the soul stone. And I'm trying to figure out how that's possible. How could the soul stone be here? Because all the infinity stones of this universe was destroyed by Thanos, and the only infinity stones from the gauntlet that the Avengers used was returned to their own timelines by Captain America. So how could the soul stone be here? Now it's orangish. I think it's the soul stone. And it doesn't make sense that that stone is here. Now, we see in the Loki series that there are a lot of Infinity Stones just lying around at the TVA. Maybe someone accidentally brought one of the stones here. That could be a possibility. But another possibility I'm thinking about is, well, in order to get the Soul Stone, Natasha had to sacrifice herself. So Steve Rogers is returning all the Infinity Stones. And even if he managed to get all the stones back, how is he gonna return the Soul Stone? I mean, getting the Soul Stone was basically an exchange for Natasha's life, and I don't think there's a reversal. It's reversible. So what's the point of him returning? How can he actually return the stone when life for the stone has already been taken? So that logic always didn't make sense to me. So maybe the Captain America that came back as an old man, maybe he bought the Soul Stone with him and he kept it in a deposit box before he went off wherever. That might be the case. It might actually be possible. Now, the stone isn't glowing or anything. And the robber said that their boss is the one who wants the stone. And we don't know who their boss actually is. And how he knows about this. But that's an Infinity Stone. At least it looks like an Infinity Stone. I don't think it could be anything else. And this is a huge shock in this episode. I mean, Daredevil is a ground level superhero show. It's not really that much of a superhero. And to have an Infinity Stone there, it's a big deal. Now, what's the point of the Infinity Stone still being in the MCU since all the other stones are destroyed? I don't know. I mean, what kind of power does the Infinity Stone actually have? The Soul Stone actually have? That also I don't know. Maybe it can contain souls or something. Maybe that becomes useful sometime in the future. But anyway, Matt Murdock takes the stone. And then the robbers get caught by the police. And in the middle of that, one of the robbers tried to give the stone to a hostage, which Matt Murdock manages to hear somehow because of the super hearing. So he tracks down the robber and who escapes disguised as a cop. And he beats him up. And the woman he gave the stone to, he managed to switch it out with candy. And at the end of the episode, we see him talking to Kamala Khan's father again. And saying that even though they can't get the loan, he wants to help them try to figure out a financial plan. And invites him to dinner at his house. Which means that we might actually see Kamala Khan and Matt Murdock interacting with each other. Whenever that happens, if it does happen. I mean, we already saw him interact with Spider-Man. But yeah, and after that discussion, Matt Murdock leaves a stone subtly with him. And that's the end of the episode. Now, overall, this is an interesting episode. Because the Kamala Khan link and the Infinity Stone. But not a lot of action in this episode. I mean, not much Daredevil stuff going on. Just Matt Murdock. But yeah, considering these two things are in the episode, it's interesting. And it's about time we get something interesting in this series. Because if it goes on like this, it might get a little boring. So yeah, that's a review of the episode Daredevil. Born Again. The episode 5.